Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to leave this mask up today. I think it's important. I want to start out, I always like to start with good news and end with good news. So I'll start by saying we did hire a new director of financial services. Yay! Her name is Mary Lydecker, and she is currently the controller at the Concession Golf Club in Bradenton. Maybe you have heard of it. It's a pretty high-end golf club in Bradenton. They actually hosted a PGA event during 2020 when the pandemic was going on. So lots of big-name golfers use that club. She's been there about 4 or 5 years, and she really does the gamut of financial things for them. So just a super, super nice lady. I think she's going to fit in with the team here really well. She's got a lot of great experience beyond the concession, some other golf clubs, but hospitality experience, which I'm sure Teresa is going to capitalize on when we need help at the buffet. And we're looking forward to her getting started. Her first day will be February 1st. So we're looking forward to that. The other thing I want to talk about is just talk a little bit about our COVID-19 status here in the community, how it's impacting things. So the good news is we really haven't seen a ton of resident cases, especially in independent living. So that's really good news. Our challenge has been with our employees. So we actually just learned this morning we've had about a handful of dining associates either be directly exposed to someone that tested positive or test positive themselves over the weekend or this morning. So how we have to handle that is to really keep it simple and not bore you with the details of the return to work recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control. They're basically going to be out anywhere from 7 to 10 days. And so we have to pivot every time we have a new positive employee, especially in dining services. And what sort of compounds the issue, and I don't want to steal too much of Teresa's thunder because she's going to come up and talk later, is that what compounds the issue is we already had open positions that we were covering with our employees. So not only do we now have open positions, we have employees that can't work because they have tested positive or have been exposed to somebody that tested positive for COVID-19. So we're going to continue as planned as far as the pickup meals during the day. Nothing's changing with that. We are going to have to work the grill with 3 total employees. So our plan is not to change the hours of the grill. However, it's going to be pickup service only. So you're just going to come in and get your meals to go from the grill. The one thing we are going to have to cancel for right now is the Thursday turkey dinner. So the hours are going to stay the same. We're not going to do turkey dinner this week. But when you come into the grill, it's going to be pickup only. We are going to still have the hospitality station, and you're welcome to sit out front at the tables where I know some groups of you do that on a regular basis, but everything's going to be to go. I did mention last week that we're going to start working on drafting some policies and procedures, and I did receive several emails from residents who have some ideas, who are thankful we're going to create those policies, and we will certainly let the RAC committees take a look at those policies before we finalize them. But I'll give you a little more information on why we're doing that. I don't want to get too granular. So we have our resident handbook that all of you have a copy of. It's somewhat generic, and that's intentional. So I do think there are a couple areas that it's important for us to put in black and white what our expectations are from the residents. So our first policy we're tackling, and I'm going to work closely with Jeff Dickerson, who's our Director of Administrative Services, is really parking across the campus, whether it's Golfview Terrace, whether it's in the circle, whether it's at the side doors or the 2-hour parking up front, or parking your golf cart in your carport, automobile space. We're gonna touch on all those things that we get questions on. We have a lot of residents who help us out and point out violators. And then we have the violators who don't care about the rules. But we thought at least we can be clear about what the expectations are. So we're working on that. We hope to have that finalized by the end of the month. Another topic that I want to cover is, and I've talked to I've actually talked to multiple residents, but one today, one Friday, about some changes in pricing and practices at the golf course. So I will start by saying I own the fact that I should have communicated better when we changed some pricing and membership information at the golf course at the end of last year. But what I will share today is that since Ron Larkin started in June of last year, as we sort of looked through the record keeping, what we found was very inconsistent pricing as far as membership goes. How much we charged for things wasn't consistent. And what I can tell you is that we haven't changed our published pricing since 2014. So it's been a long time, and we thought we needed to institute some sort of consistency in how we charge people. So when I say that, I mean there were people that had free memberships, there were people that paid $500, there were people that paid $800, there were people that paid $1,200, and there wasn't really any documentation as to why things were the way they were. I also, over time, since we published these prices, heard from folks that Frank gave free golf to people that were over 90, or free golf to people that were over 85. There were all these sort of special deals that were worked out. And I want to be fair, absolutely fair to our residents, and I want to make sure we have offerings that meet the needs of whatever level of golf you're able to play right now. So one new thing that Ron and I agreed to do this morning actually was offer a punch card for 9-hole rounds, meaning if you can only play 9 holes versus 18, we're going to offer the residents of Freedom Plaza, not anybody out in Sun City Center proper, but residents of Freedom Plaza can buy a 9-hole round punch card for $150, which means you can play 9 holes 10 times for $150, which is a discounted rate as opposed to somebody that wants to play a 9-hole round that doesn't live at Freedom Plaza. So I know not everybody in the room here golfs, so if you want to talk to me specifically about golf and how all of this impacts you, please stop by and see me. I am going to attend the golf committee meeting at the end of this month, and we're going to talk through all these things. But I guess my feeling was there was, free golf given to people of a certain age, and my perspective is that I know some 90-year-olds that are in better shape than I am, and there are some 75-year-olds that have health challenges that don't allow them to golf as much or as long as they used to be able to. So I want to accommodate anybody and their abilities on the golf course. So and I'm flexible. People have offered ideas, and actually the punch cards were the idea of a resident, and we put those into play. So just come talk to me if you have concerns about anything going on at the golf course, because we're just really trying to be fair and consistent. That's all we're trying to do. I'm not trying to increase. The golf course isn't a financially successful part of our community. It never has been, but we've sort of accepted that because it's a good marketing tool. But I also don't want to continue to make that worse than it already is. So we can't keep giving away everything for free, but we want to be fair. So that's my position. And like I said, come talk to me if you want to know more about that. Good news, we ordered new tables and chairs for the private dining rooms. So we are hopeful we should have those in the next 12 weeks or so. Sibby's working with our furniture vendor on getting all the details squared away, but we think it's about a 12-week delivery period. So assuming that we're going to work real hard to get all of our positions filled and get this virus out amongst our associates and be able to have private dining room events again. So I think that will be really good news for the residents. And lastly, I just want to mention that next week I did talk with Cyril Cope this morning via email and briefly here. There was a FLICRA meeting here January 17th, which is a week from today at 10 a.m. So if you are a FLICRA member, know that that's still happening. We will send out a swift reach like we did this morning, encouraging mask wearing and social distancing as much as we can. And I think that's going to be a real good meeting with lots of good information. So at this time, I'm going to call Sibby up. He's going to give you some updates on projects we have going on right now, what we might see going on here in the near future.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Angie.
Good morning.
So just to touch on some of our projects that are happening, I know many of you have seen what's going on back there at golf cart parking, also where the trash dumpsters have been moved to the back, also some of that dog park area has been cleared. A lot of that work has begun, it's underway. The next big thing is in that golf cart parking area is to move all the golf carts out, take down the fence, and then redo the asphalt. I'm working with the contractor actually this week. We're trying to get him out here this week. He also is having issues with COVID. He's got about 6 of his guys that are sick, and they're actually 2 are in the hospital. But he's trying to get another crew out here so we can get that project going as well. Many of you have already cleared your sheds, and we've removed probably about 90% of those sheds out of there. I think there's only a handful that we're going to be removing next. I'll contact you this week, possibly Wednesday of this week, if the contractor is ready by the end of the week, and I'm going to go out and start moving some of those carts out. I worked with Jeff Dickerson on where we're going to put it. We've got an open canopy section where we're parking a lot of the transportation vehicles. We're going to move all the golf carts into that area while the asphalt's getting done. Hopefully 2 days, 3 days max is what the asphalt portion will be. And then we can move those golf carts back in there. But if I don't have a key to get to your golf cart, I'm going to contact you guys and see if you can come down there sometime during that day, and together we can get your golf cart moved over. But we'll just need to make sure everyone's golf carts are charged, because there'll be at least 2 days that you won't be able to plug in your golf cart. If for some reason the battery dies, please contact me, get a hold of myself or anyone on the maintenance staff, and we'll get you guys taken care of with regards to that. There's going to be a lot of coordination, a lot of moving back and forth when it comes to that, but the only way to do that asphalt project just for the golf cart parking is to get everything completely cleared so that they can get their equipment back in there to do that. So part of that asphalt is also going to go into back to where the garden center is, and then also the dog park. The dog park's not going to be asphalt, but there's going to be new sod, there's going to be some new plumbing and some new fencing and concrete as well. And it's the same contractor that's going to be doing that work over in that area as well. Once all that work is completed, once the new hard asphalt area is done in the back where the trash dumpsters are located, we're going to install a new fence around that whole area. There's going to be a 6-foot chain link fence along the back. It's going to run from where the existing fence is all the way past the garden center. There'll be no more entrance to the golf cart parking from the back. All that's going to be completely sealed off. All the entrance will be from the front. So right now there's some parking spots there, and I think some of the staff members and contractors are parking there. We're actually bringing the fence out about another 3 feet. So all that parking will be eliminated, but all your entry to the golf cart area will be from the front only. It'll be a little bit safer. You don't have to go around back. There'll be less golf cart traffic around back because we're going to have more pedestrian traffic with the dog park being back there and also the garden center as well. So it creates a safer atmosphere for all of us in that aspect. Over there towards the right, where the current vacuum, the water hose, and the air compressor are at, We're going to create like a little cubby hole so that you don't park on the main drive and fill up your tires or wash your golf carts or wash your vehicles. That way you can actually pull off the drive and get that taken care of. So we'll have a new vacuum, we'll have a new air line, and also a new water line brought out there as well. That also is to happen hopefully by the end of this week or into next week. So once that does happen, the vacuum, the water hose, and the existing air hose will be down, possibly for at least 5 days, maybe a little bit longer, just depends on when the new vacuum can get installed. But that all back there is going to have an 8-foot vinyl fence. And the reason we went vinyl over there is really just to hide all the trash compactors, the dumpsters, because it's unsightly. Really that doesn't need to be seen. So the whole goal of doing that area that way is to kind of clean it up, make it a little bit more visually appealing, and also for sales and marketing, when we do bring new individuals and prospects back there, it's something we can brag about. You know, right now it's kind of an eyesore, and many of comments have come about, this is where we're going to park our golf carts. I really don't want to park my golf cart there, and I don't want to go to the garden center either. So hopefully the goal is to really, you know, bring more prospects, more attention to that area, and encourage more residents to go outside and use that area as well. Another one of the projects that's really heavily underway is the Plaza West interior renovation. This week we're set to have one inspection on the interior. I believe it's set for Wednesday is what I heard as of the end of last week. But that project's moving along quite well. The flooring is the next big portion of it. A lot of it is well needing to be replaced. I believe in the next month is when we're looking at replacing the flooring there. But all the ceiling tile, the lights, the walls have already been painted. Some of the wall sconces have been replaced as well. And it's looking very nice. It's very bright, looks more modern. It's very appealing at this point to go in there and walk around. Our drainage project, that is one that's we have started. We've cleared some of the trees. The same contractor that's doing the project in the back, he's also working on this one as well. So once we get that probably 90% underway, those contractors will move over here and start clearing some of this area and getting that underway so that we can clean up some of the bad drainage that we have, add some existing drainage swells to take care of the water issues that we're having. We have not gotten our approval list for the 2022 capital projects yet, so I can't give you a definite list of projects that we have coming up, but no doubt we're going to get that soon, and then we'll get those underway and get a schedule going for that as well. Any questions or comments you guys may have? Yes, Rocco?
See, at the current entrance to the golf cart parking, the area in that area was cleared of brush. What is going in there?
This is, where was this again?
At the current entrance to the golf cart parking.
Oh, okay. I think that area that you're talking about is going to be the dog park. Right now it's about 30 by 60 area, but it may actually expand a little bit more. But yeah, all that brushed area is what we cleared out. We moved the CDS construction trailer over to the back so that we don't have that eyesore anymore to look at. Any other? Yes.
I hope this is working. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, whoever talked over there about the dog park, I'm very thankful that he mentioned that. I think this is a real issue, and I know, Sibby, that we discussed this, but I don't think that anybody in our residence really understand what this dog park is about. And I wish it would get explained, because I love dogs. I wish I had a dog. I want a place for my dog to play. But why would we put this dog park at the entrance to our garden? And why is it there when the golf players are on hole number 6 and they're playing golf? Now, we have a lot of concern about this dog park, and I'm sorry that I have to bring this up, but no one seems to be wanting to talk about it. They want to hide it, and I don't know why this dog park is being hid, and who is sponsoring this dog park. I wish we had a dog park, but the location is lousy.
Dorothy, you're very excited, and I haven't seen you once come talk to me about it.
I haven't talked to anybody about it because I don't know who to talk about.
Well, I've mentioned it at the last few meetings, If anybody that's been here, I've been talking about the dog park, and it's not being hidden. It's not being hidden. We have a group of residents that work very hard on a plan for the dog park. We have all our proper protocols in place, and this is not going to hinder anything. It's not going to hinder the garden. It's not going to hinder golf. We thought this was the perfect location because it's not out along American Eagle Boulevard. It's sort of tucked away. There's going to be plenty of seating for the people who have their small dogs or larger dogs, because there's going to be 2 different sections within the dog park. And, you know, I haven't had anybody come forth to me to present any concerns. So I'm sorry that you feel that this has been a secret, but I've talked about it many times. It's been in memos, and we have very detailed plans for how it's going to work. So if you want to come talk to me about specifics about how you feel this is going to impede something, I'm happy to talk to you about it. But this is something that many, many, many communities, including our sister communities, are putting in because it's a very attractive option for our prospects and current residents that have these animals and want an area for them to be able to socialize and for the owners to socialize with each other. We've put it off this long because we were really looking for what we thought was the best location for a dog park. And in my opinion, this was a good location. So I'm unaware of anything that this is going to interfere with, but I'm happy to discuss with you further.
Thank you, Angie. Ms. Theota?
The areas at the end of each of the parking rows along the boulevard look terrible. They are really, I mean, there's just nothing there but dirt.
Right.
At one time, they used to have some small palm trees and plants in it, but those were all taken out, and they were supposed to be planting, but nothing's been done. It really looks bad.
So we removed it because we were going to start a project and create more delivery zone parking there. We're still going to do that this year. That's the reason why we didn't go back and do any kind of additional planting. I think the landscape that was there was like soft palmettos, things that don't require much irrigation. And the reason for that is because there is no irrigation in those end caps. That's another reason why we're not planting any kind of annuals or anything, you know, any kind of color there either. But the goal, there is a plan and there's a goal for that. This year, hopefully by second quarter, we can get started and create some delivery zone parking for FedEx, for any other delivery vehicles that are coming, versus clogging up our front entrance in the circle. Jeff's utilizing the side doors 2 and 5 very well, but as many of you are aware, we are having a lot more delivery vehicles, whether it's with groceries, Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and some do need to come and go quickly, and that's the other reason why we're trying to utilize those front end caps as well. But thank you for bringing that point up as well. Yep, Tommy in the back.
I just want to thank you for the beautiful flowers they brought. They're conifers green.
Great, thank you. You guys are very welcome. George?
I was told that to save water, we have to limit how to flush your toilet. Can you repeat?
I'll repeat what she's saying, guys.
I just need clarification. I was told that to save water.
I'll repeat it, guys.
You have to limit. You adjusted something where you can't flush all the way through.
Ella, speak into the mic.
What she's saying is she was told to save water, conserve water, is to reduce the amount of flushes in a toilet.
Yes, and it did happen on my own toilet.
Right.
They did reduce it.
There's some toilets that are eco-saver, water savers, where you flush it. They've got 2 different buttons. You can flush it once and it only uses half the amount of water. A lot of the older toilets, when you flush it, it's over 1.2 gallons per flush. Whatever your toilet is, if you have that feature, you can do it, but chances are your toilet is just 1 flush and the amount of water that's in there is going to come out. If it's something that you want to change, we can definitely upgrade your toilet and change that out.
But there's no directive to save water.
Correct. There's really no directive or anything that we've put out that we need to be saving water. The county really hasn't put anything out either.
In my own particular case, it doesn't save anything. The water is so little It doesn't flush. They have to reflush 3 times.
Okay.
So we
Sounds like
probably-
you got an issue with
Yeah.
the toilet. We'll come take a look
I
at
mean,
the
it's
toilet.
flushing okay. It's just another water coming up to 11. So
Gotcha.
it's okay. So
Okay.
what good is that? I mean, instead of having just one flush, now you have to do it 2 or 3 times. And if you have company, it's gonna be burdensome.
Right. I'll get with Art and we'll have a guy come down there and take a look at it.
Okay.
We'll get it resolved. I think it was more an isolated incident. I don't think if anyone else is having issues with your toilet or anything plumbing, just please let us know and we'll address
No,
that.
it flushes okay. I have no problem. It's just the water level.
Okay.
It doesn't come up anymore to what it used to be.
You got it.
Just get down.
We'll take care of it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else? Yes, over here.
Yes, thank you. Am I on?
You're on.
I don't have any comments so much about the dog park, but I'll tell you, it looks a lot nicer than when those big dumpsters and those big workers' trailers were in there before.
Good.
My question is about when you do the asphalting in the go-kart area, and across the street you say the concrete into the dog park, is that going to hinder any access to the garden area?
No, actually, on the contrary, the entrance to the garden area, all that will be new asphalt as well. So the entrance is actually going to get improved, if you will. And then once all that's done, the garden center itself, we do have some plans to improve that area as well. A lot of the walkways and paths going in there need to be cleaned up as well.
Well, my thought was you said it like take 2 or 3 days for that asphalt to set. Will we be able to get to the garden during those 2 or 3 days?
We will. We'll make a pathway for you to be able to go back and forth. Yes.
Now, I want to ask, Cindy, have you had any luck replacing Sean Scott?
We had one prospect. He was actually he lives in Fort Lauderdale. He was trying to find housing over here. He's not been able to do so. So I did have to reopen that position. He's still on the ballot. If he finds some housing here, we will be taking him on board. Typically, when we post positions, the amount of applicants come flooding in. Right now, probably because of COVID and also the labor shortage, there's not much coming in. At the same time, we don't want to just hire anybody to fill a spot. We want to make sure it's a good candidate, a solid candidate. And the guys right now, they've really been doing a good job of being able to cover everything. If there's something lagging, just let us know and we'll address that as soon as we can. Yes.
Is there any chance when you have the people come in and do drainage, that they could finally fill the hole under my lanai? I don't know if there's something living under there or not, but it's been there for over a year now, and
we
I
will.
can't get anybody there.
Yes, we will take care of that as well.
It's on the B side.
113.
Right?
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it. Any more comments? Questions? Going once? One more.
How close is a dog park to the 6th green?
So there is probably about I'd say 30-foot buffer of landscaping, and then probably another 30 feet from there to number 6 green. So 60 feet altogether, I'd say.
Okay.
If not,
Teresa?
Teresa? I'd like to welcome Teresa up. Thank you guys for your time.
I was kind of hoping you had more questions for Sydney. Wow, Happy New Year. It's been a rough one for dining anyway. So I kind of just wanted to reiterate on what Angie had touched on with all of our changes, and to let you know from a dining standpoint, really why we are making or had to pivot and flex to make the changes that we've had. Prior to anyone testing positive or being quarantined for COVID last week, or the last week of the year, we have 19 open positions just in independent living. So 8 of those are servers. We have 2 supervisors in the front of the house. We have 4 associates in the grill, 2 full-time and 2 part-time that we do need to retain so we can get back to opening at night and on Saturdays. We have a sous chef in catering, and we have a lead cook in catering as well. And then we also have catering servers that we do need to also bring on. So anytime 1 or 2 are out due to COVID or quarantine issues, it puts us really, it stretches the kitchen a lot. We have 5 down in the kitchen, which means, chef, if there's a catering event, just like a regular Rotary luncheon, which really doesn't tax us too much, the menus are quite easy, but chef has to go down there and prepare that, and that leaves his kitchen at a disadvantage not having him in there. So our sous chef, Jake, has been watching over the kitchen. After what we had found out walking into this meeting today, the changes that we had put in place right now for the grill are things that we know immediately. There may be additional changes, but I'm trying not to do that, depending on when I do get my team back. We are actively recruiting. We are not getting a lot of applications in. For our back of the house, our cook positions, supervisory positions, lead cook, and sous chef. Every single application that comes through, every resume is vetted and called. We set up interviews. We've set up 9 sous chef interviews in the past 2.5 weeks, and not one of them showed up. So this is the market. This is not just happening at Freedom Plaza. Everywhere you look, companies who are already short, especially in hospitality and retail, who are already short, are having to alter their hours due to the lack of applicants coming in and ability to hire at this point. So, we're really working with a limited staff. We have a dedicated team members that are in. The ones that are out, honestly, they feel terrible. They're like, gosh, I just want to come back to work. When can I come back? But, we need to go within our protocols. For right now, just to reiterate on what she said about the grill, we are going to have to cancel our turkey dinner on Thursday. We will resume next week. And we will be going to a takeout only in the grill, just so there's less cleanup and less things that they're going to need to manage moving forward, with only having 3 in there. So they will be pulling, obviously, an extra shift to do that. We are going to remain open on Sunday night, as that is very popular, and shift around to make that happen. But that's where we're at in dining right now. We are trying very, very hard to get staffed and doing everything we can. We are speaking with Leonard High School this week. We actually were scheduled to go out there. We might need to push that back another week to work with the guidance counselors to do a mass hiring at the high school, which works out very well for us. The guidance counselors will pick out young adults that are, have great grades, they're involved in team-related sports and really want a job, and the scholarship is a great way to bring them on as well. So we're excited about that. So that will help fulfill front of the house, which is your servers, but we still need to kind of crack the code on how we're going to bring some more cooks, sous chefs, and lead cooks in. And again, this isn't just happening at Freedom Plaza. This is at our sister communities as well, and in the hospitality and retail industry, nationwide. So does anyone have any questions for me? Yes.
Teresa, can you just tell us when is the effective date of when you're going to start pickup in the grill? Is that today or?
Today we are going to continue status quo. There may be longer lines. I will tell you there are 3 in there right now, but we are trying to keep both areas open. So if you do go in, be patient. It will start tomorrow 100%.
Today we can still eat there at the grill?
I would deter that. No, I don't want you to you can go into the. What do we want to do, Ange?
Officially tomorrow.
Officially tomorrow, but I would say to help them out, because there's literally only 3 people in there, and we've had to juggle some staff around. It might be nice maybe just to pick up your meal today as well. But we're not going to tell you hard no. If you want to sit in there, you can.
Is it safe for residents to return their brown bags each day instead of getting new bags? Because the servers do not switch their gloves after every time.
Okay. The bags are not dirty or full of rubbish or anything. So what they're doing is they're writing their names on it. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, we can stop that protocol and just move forward with not bringing. And we're not asking residents to bring down bags. This is something that residents are doing because they were tired of having so many bags in their apartment.
We're concerned about the handles.
Okay.
All these handles are going in, and the servers are touching them.
With gloves on.
gloves on, but they don't switch gloves in between bags.
Okay.
I would just say that don't.
Then don't bring your bags down.
Just get a new bag each
We'll just get a new bag each time. Okay, so no longer bringing bags down. If you want to, we're just going to kindly ask for you to get a new one.
Quick question.
Can you hear me?
Is there a little bill near the cash register? I'm sure I can be behind somebody in line and get up there and they never see me. And I'll wait 2 or 3 minutes and I'll leave. Because they don't see me because of the counter there. Is there a bill we can go bing bing? For those of us that are little, not 6 feet tall.
We can try.
Well, yeah, we can look for a bell. I'll get a cowbell. We can.
I have one in my office.
You have a cowbell in your office? Yes, I like to ring that when I bring my kids in.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I have had an ongoing concern about masks. I listen to a lot of news. I talked to a doctor the other day specifically about this. My concern is mainly because when we've been in the dining room, majority of the servers are wearing this. The doctor says this is useless. Airborne virus can go right through here. They not only wear this, it's worn beneath their nose. I'm not going to come down on a server for that. It's not my job, but I have watched it. They may as well, in my opinion, be wearing nothing, and then we could understand them better. However, why isn't everybody who works here not given the N95 mask to wear?
So I will tell you what the LCS policy is. So with LCS, surgical masks are per their protocol. We do have N95 masks available, and when we require the N95 is if, so there's distinctions for exposure, if you will. So if an associate is exposed, has direct exposure to maybe their spouse or a child that has tested positive at home, and they've received all their vaccinations, including the booster, they can work, they can continue to work, and in that situation, we will require them to wear an N95. But outside of having direct exposure, surgical masks meet the requirement that LCS is mandating for their employees. Now, I'm not challenging what you've heard on the news. I tend not to watch the news just because it's pretty depressing. But I do follow the guidance I'm given by our management company, and they are telling us that the surgical masks are sufficient unless you're dealing with exposure. So you will see, if you visit loved ones at Plaza West or at assisted living or memory care, the Arbors, that you will more than likely see staff there wearing N95s, especially if they have positive residents or like I said, have been exposed. But the information we're given by our management company is that surgical masks are sufficient. We are not allowed to wear cloth masks. We are not allowed to wear KN95 masks, which were really big right sort of at the beginning of the pandemic, and we weren't able to get N95 masks. We received thousands upon thousands of KN95 masks, but they do not meet LCS standards anymore. So the only 2 masks that you should see employees wearing are a surgical mask or an N95 mask. And if they are wearing them below their nose, that's on us. So my recommendation is, if you see employees with masks down, that you talk to the director for that department, and it is our responsibility to enforce proper mask wearing. And that's what our commitment is. So obviously we don't have eyes on every associate for every minute that they're here. So we rely on you also to be our eyes and ears if you see somebody that isn't properly wearing their mask, and let us know, and we'll make sure that we take care of it.
Rocky.
Teresa, although it's highly desirable to eat at a dining table, I have to compliment you on the process you established for feeding people through the buffet line. Is very efficient and quick. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay.
I'm going to bring Chris Hall up. He's going to talk about how we did in the sales department in the fourth quarter.
All right, how was everybody today? Good? Yeah. All right, good to see everybody. So it was a little struggle last year, and but we had done pretty well. As we approached December, however, the fourth quarter was kind of shabby, to say the least. However, very thankful to you all that sent folks to us. We were able to not only meet the budget of 13, but we actually got 14 sales for the fourth quarter. Put us 3 over budget for the entire year. And from entrance fee collected, we finished at just shy of 1.7 million above budget. So we actually did very well last year. With that said, we're trying to make up now, and we have nothing that we're looking at for this month. So we need some help from you all. No, but we were able to limit the amount of increase that we did to the entrance fee and monthly fees, which I was happy with from a market perspective. So if you had folks that were a little leery about going ahead and signing up at the end of last year, send them to us. I mean, really and truly, the increase compared to other years was fairly nominal from a market increase. And we would love to have them and put them in the right apartment that meets their needs. So, is there any questions from a marketing standpoint? I know many of you probably see our ads in the papers, those type of things. But is there any questions from a sales and marketing front? No? Okay, that's really all that I have. Have a great day, y'all.
And I'll just wrap up with just a few comments. And I meet with several residents almost on a daily basis, all different residents with all different concerns, compliments, suggestions, which I appreciate greatly. But I have heard from a few residents that say that there are other residents that are hesitant to come talk to me about something because they fear there's going to be retaliation of some sort, or that nothing's going to get done, or whatever the reason may be. And I'm here to tell you that I want to hear from you. If you have a concern, you have a suggestion, you have something that you want to continue because you like it, any reason, anything that's on your mind, I'm happy to meet with you and discuss. And I'm all about being fair. I'm open to changing something if it's not working. And that's how we make this community great. That's how we make it attractive for other residents. And so I want to make sure if there's something on your mind or you hear something from another resident and it doesn't sound right, please, please, please come talk to me. You can stop by. If I'm not in a meeting, you can just come on in. If you would prefer making an appointment, you can reach out to Stephanie and she can schedule an appointment for you. But really and truly and honestly, I'm here for all of you. So if there's something weighing heavy on your mind, I would really I'd love to talk to you about it. So with that, is there any other questions about anything we talked about today?
Angie, a question about visitors. If you have a relative who wants to come and stay or just visit, is there any restrictions on that?
So right now, there's no restrictions on having visitors in your apartment or at the community. What I will say is that we expect them to wear a mask when they're in common areas in the building, and that they sign in on the AccuShield kiosk as they come into the main entrance. So that being said, they need to come in and out the main entrance and get screened every time they leave and come back. But other than that, there's no restrictions on visitation. And I will say that we grapple every day with how to continue to maneuver with the pandemic that continues to go on. and try to make the best decisions that we can with whatever situation we're handed that day. And unfortunately, I think this is something that, 2 years ago we thought was going to last a few weeks, and here we are 2 years later, and the challenges it presents just are ever changing. So, and I'm not sure that we're not going to have to deal with this for a long time. So I appreciate your patience and understanding as we have to make changes to our daily operations, but I'm hoping with this current variant, the good news is that people aren't getting nearly as sick. So if you want to find a positive, that's a positive. And from what I'm being told, we think this spike is gonna peak somewhere in the next few weeks, and then we're gonna see a significant drop off. And that's what I'm really crossing my fingers for. But what I don't want to do is start canceling everything again and shutting everything down. I mean, we're having to modify dining service mainly because we don't have the staff to maintain the level of service to keep the dining rooms open. And it's, I think if we were in a different position from a staffing perspective, we wouldn't even have to do what we're doing. So I, again, appreciate your patience and understanding, and we're just going to do our best to continue to recruit and retain our staff, because we really do have a core group of employees that have been here a long, long time, and they love Freedom Plaza as much as I love Freedom Plaza, and we want to keep those folks, and then we want to hire more like them. The struggle is finding those people, but we're continuing to turn up rocks and look everywhere we can possibly think of to find these folks that we consider part of our tribe. So we'll certainly keep you updated as we go, but there'll be a memo today that sort of outlines everything we talked about. And I apologize to the folks that are here from 6BC and have their floor meeting today. It's going to sound a little bit repetitive when we talk later this afternoon, but come with different topics if you have other concerns that you want to discuss.
Angie, nobody has mentioned activities for the mind. We used to have SIL lectures. We had a wonderful University for the Day activity.
I remember that. I came to one of those.
It was fabulous, but we don't have anything like that. We have a wealth of resources around here. We have USF, we have Eckerd College, we have New College. Can't we get something that will be something for the intellect instead of just going to restaurants? I know we're going to opera and theater. I don't want to include that. That's for the mind.
Let me talk to Susie, because I agree with you. I was here when we did University for the Day, and that was when we were still with Brookdale, but it was actually very interesting, and still as well. So let me get with Susie and we'll come up with some ideas.
Angie, Sarasota Institute of Learning has a program for...
And we use that for a long, long time. We had, it's called, the acronym is SIL, and I don't know if that's an option for us to get back or there's other options out there, but...
You can join now.
I just want to raise one serious matter. Yesterday morning, I was out walking along American Eagle. 2 emergency vehicles came in. As they pulled up American Eagle, there were cars in front of them. Both cars, neither car pulled out of the way. The second car did when the emergency vehicle sat on the horn. Both cars came to a stop at the stop sign. The first car proceeded to go through at like 15 miles an hour. The vehicle needed to turn into Plaza West. If you're driving and an emergency vehicle comes up, your job is to pull over as fast as you can and get out of the way. So if you're a driver and you cannot see and cannot hear emergency vehicles, then please consider your safety in mind when you're driving.
Thank you, Cyril.
I wanted to say, if I may, something positive. I think that a lot of us live here are watching way too much news on TV, and we're listening to every single channel. None of them makes sense. No one gives you the exact thing of what's going on. I happened to listen to something last night on Channel 18, which is pretty much just blank news. And it was, a person was being interviewed who's very high in knowing about what's happening in our society. And the percentage of people who have left their jobs not to sit home and do nothing, they decide to reevaluate. They've realized from the shutdown that they need to take care of their children and their household and their marriage, and they've decided to reevaluate how and when they work. And the percentage of people who are out of the market right now is amazing. And you're right, hospitality and retail is just suffering miserably, and people are really researching before they get back in. And I think it's changing our society a bit. And I think the other thing is you just cannot dwell on illness. It will make you sick. And you know, when we move about, wear a mask if you go to the grocery. Wear a mask if you go someplace. Be prudent on your own, for your own self, and just don't worry about this. A lot of people who've gotten sick have been only sick like maybe if they had the flu, that kind of thing, or it's like a cold or a sinus infection, and maybe they went and got tested and it was positive, but it doesn't mean we're all going to be shut down and done.
And I encourage everybody to and I think it's a good life advice. You worry about yourself, right? You take care of yourself. You take care of your family, and that's what I encourage you to do. I had some emails today about concerns about having this meeting in person, and I thought about it. I actually reached out to Joey over the weekend and said, you know, do you think we should do this resident town hall meeting in person? Should we do it virtually? And I'm real hesitant to stop doing things. And what I will say is we will encourage you, you know, we want people to wear masks. We want people to social distance when they can. But I think we're at a point now where we have to accept that this is what we're dealing with now. And we can't all be locked up at home or in our apartments. We have to figure out a way to live and stay safe at the same time. So that's what we're going to do here at Freedom Plaza. And I will just, as anecdotally, say I had some friends in town this weekend, and they were out house hunting. Actually, they're moving to the area, and said, "Do you want to meet us for lunch in Bradenton?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "I know this place. Well, it's my favorite place in Bradenton. It's called O'Bricks. I don't know if any of you have been there before, but they have this appetizer. It's these peppers with like cream cheese in them, and they're just delicious." And I was so excited, and I hopped in my car and I drove right down, and I got this great parking space. I'm like, this never happens, and they're closed. And so, you know, restaurants are facing those same things, having to close on certain days of the week because they don't have the staff to stay open their normal hours. So, you know, it's a struggle, and we know that our staffing issues aren't your problem. Unfortunately, you feel the impacts of them. But just know that we are working very diligently to resolve our challenges so we can get back to the service that you're used to in the dining room. So thank you again for your patience and understanding.